Hello, hello. Welcome to Cosmic Tea for a very exciting holiday edition, if you can see that. I'm just waiting for my lovely co-host Melissa Kathryn to join. But in the meantime, please come in. Please tell us where you are from. We would love to see you, love to know you. Hello, hello. Okay, I think Melissa's hopping on now. There
Cool.
she is.
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
Every time I come on, I see myself differently beforehand. Hi.
How are you? It's been a minute.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
It's been several
Crazy.
minutes. It's been several
Yes.
minutes.
Yes.
So I was just prepping all of our lovely viewers and asking them to share with us where they are from, where in the world, because our following at this point has grown internationally, crazy, crazy places. It's unbelievable. So
Okay.
to just drop that, oh, Frisco, Texas. Hey,
There we go.
Frisco. Yeah, I love that.
Oh my gosh.
I am Dr. Olivia Audrey, board certified doctor of natural medicine, co-host of Cosmic Tea, with my lovely co-host Melissa Kathryn. Let's tell the folks a bit about yourself.
Yes, I am a holistic nutritionist, body intuitive, weight loss expert, background with fitness, all the things, and love to reprogram the subconscious mind. So we're going to get into it today. I'm really excited for today's topic, guys. Like, Olivia, I'm so excited for this one. It's
I
so
know.
good.
Well,
Oh yeah,
so necessary. So necessary.
so necessary. Guys,
So
we're going to be
today,
talking about, so let us know with emojis or in the comments below, who's been feeling or notices that some days it can be amazing and you're like rocking it out and feeling so good in life. And then the next day you're like, what happened? I was just so motivated. I was just feeling so good. So we really wanted to speak into how to go from stressed to blessed in 10 minutes or less. Thank you for that
I
brilliant title.
I love it. I'm the queen of the one-liners, right? So exactly that. This time of year especially, there's such a focus on, family and how to be all things to all people and get everything done, and then also have an amazing time while doing it and look picture perfect and overextend yourself continuously, and it tends to sweep under the rug some sort of low level issues that you might have of just self-reconciliation. So when we talk about that and we talk about impact theory and all of these things that you hear Melissa and I speak of frequently, what we're really getting to the heart of is that you yourself are a real person with real emotions, and you are entitled to feel any way that you actually please about anything that you please. What happens is that we get into situations where we feel imposed to behave a certain way and to feel a certain way, and we get, for lack of a better term, and it's so overused, but triggered. We get triggered, right? Especially this time of year. So we're riding high, as Melissa said. We're having an amazing day. We're, having an amazing week. We're killing it. We're crushing it. We're doing all of the things, right? All of the adulting, and we're winning. We're getting the W. And then the next day, for no apparent reason, you are just flat and you feel like you are completely out of steam, out of gas, and that you don't know how to reconcile. And what's worse, you don't even know how you got there. So we're going to break down for you some of the top tips on how you may be getting there. If you're like letting a lot of people have access to your energy without knowing it and forgetting to do things like meditation and journaling and energetic protection techniques, as well as how do you bounce back. So that's what we wanted to share with you guys today, because we thought there's no better time to be absolutely effing stressed out than the holidays. So that's why we want to give you the remedy.
It's so true, guys. And here's the thing. So a few quick things to go from stress to blessed in 10 minutes or less is one, and I always say this, you are not your thoughts. You are just a thinker of your thoughts. The more you give meaning and energy to things, the bigger they're going to seem. I'm going to say it again. The more you give energy and meaning to things, the bigger they're going to seem. What I notice time and time again, especially for if you have noticed that you're feeling really down, or you're kind of like, I'm in a funk, or I just feel stuck. Many will wake up the next day and measure themselves to the day before. Am I still stuck? Am I still here? Which means that you're bringing the past into this present moment, which is impacting your future. So you're already bringing in the energy and thoughts of yesterday and days before with a story about how stuck you are. So instead of waking up with a new slate, you're already bringing in that energy, and then we wonder why we stay stuck, and then we sit in analysis and paralysis around all the reasons why we're stuck. Why don't I feel better? Maybe I just need a cup of coffee. I'm going to go do this. And life is pulling you instead of you co-creating what it is you want to experience. So the next thing that I will say to do, so first, you are not a thinker of your thoughts. You are observing your thoughts. You're observing that there's a stuck energy. You're observing, oh, wow, I don't feel as good as I did yesterday. I'm not going to make this wrong. I'm not going to give it any meaning, right? We don't want to give anything too much meaning. We don't want to give anything any energy. We also don't want to go into comparison of yesterdays, of other people, of all the things. That's the ego's way of pulling you out. That's what we would call in psychological terms, essentially a delay tactic, a way to delay you from taking action, a way to delay you and have you think, oh no, I'm just trying to get to the root of why I feel this way. Bottom line is, you don't need to know necessarily why you feel that way. There's a big thing in the self-development world about, I need to do 10,000 years of therapy and get to all the reasons and the root causes of why and why and why, and then dissect it. Not saying that that's not a powerful thing in realms, but we don't need to live there, right? You actually don't need to know why. You just need to know, I would like to change it. I'd like to get myself into a better feeling state, right? And then the other piece that I would say is use tools to set yourself up for success. So I've been getting a lot of messages from people, and they're saying like, yeah, well, I just got up and I did this. And I'm like, but you're not actually dictating what you want. You're not actually living into what you want. Ooh, Argentina's here. I love Argentina. You're not allowing for that. So what are some things to do that we've talked about many times on this channel, and that Olivia and I do in our live events, we speak into when we do ourselves? Be a co-creator. The night before is the beginning of your next day. Write out, I wake up feeling inspired and motivated without needing an alarm. I feel so good and gain clarity. I have this, this, and this. Script out in the I am, I have tense of what it is that you want the night before. Wake up in the morning, read it again, write out gratitudes, and be in a space of, okay, did I miss anything? What else would I love to create today? And there's a great question that you can ask is really go into and allow your imagination to take hold. As adults, like Olivia had used the beautiful term adulting, we stop allowing just, sitting and daydreaming and being in like, what if this happened to me today? And asking yourself, wouldn't it be cool if, right? I know Marie Forleo has talked about this before. I think I always like to attribute back. I always just like to ask the simple, like, what would be the coolest thing that could happen to me today? What would that be? And start writing like, oh my God, it would be so cool if I randomly won the lottery. It would be so cool if I felt like I lost 10 pounds overnight. It would be so cool if this person reached out to me, or I ended up meeting this. And get into that space of the expectancy of miracles and good things to occur for you. And what happens with that is it can take you from a space of hopelessness or feeling helpless to a place of feeling excited and lit up in wonderment at life. And that's a beautiful, very simple shift in energy. So those are just top 5 that I would say that can really, really shift you quickly from really feeling depressed to blessed in 10 minutes or less.
Well, I love those top tips, and they're all super applicable. Okay, hi, I'm at work, so just listening in.
Oh, that's so great.
We won't tell your secret, I promise. I actually love this. We always encourage naughty behavior, by the way. Always. Every single time.
We don't like to follow rules.
No, rules are meant to be broken. Are you kidding? And well-behaved women rarely make history. So We will always encourage you to break the rules and be a bit naughty and cheeky on this channel. I love all of the tips that Melissa shared because they're so applicable. And the reason that you hear people talk about them is because they work, right? So when you find yourself wanting to set new patterns and establish new routines, because if you find yourself experiencing vast highs and vast lows on a continuous basis, and you find yourself in a space where you're continuously having to battle this stress, there's a routine or there's an elemental shift that needs to be adjusted there, that needs to be course corrected. Because if you want something that you've never had, you have to do something that you've never done, right? You all should know that at this point. And if you don't, you're hearing it for the first time here. I'll say it again. If you want something that you've never had, you have to do something that you've never done. For many of us, that is not packing up our bags and moving across country. Maybe it is. But for lots and lots and lots of people, it is simply making 1 degree of change in your daily routine. Now, if that's eating a healthier snack as opposed to a not healthy snack, whether as Melissa so beautifully pointed out, oh, somebody said that they'll never stop loving us. We'll never stop loving you either. Ever, ever, ever. Just an aside note. So you have to sort of break that down and you have to go, okay, you know, what 1 degree of change can I make? If my goal is to lose weight, if this is something that depresses me, then, you know, maybe I park my car further away and I take the stairs at work, whatever, but you have to move different if you want different. So the tools that Melissa alliterated are really super important. And I can't emphasize enough how powerful and effective they really are. Now, when we talk about negative thought processes, because it's all well and good for us to give you these tips and these methods, but if you find yourself in a repetitive thought loop, you got to do something to break those chains, right? And often when we get around family and at the holidays, it's all too easy to find those old familiar triggers of like, oh, my mom always makes me feel this way, or my sister or my brother, or like I'm always expected to cook or clean, or whatever the triggers are. You got to find a way to overwrite them. And for that, we really need to hack into the body's response to these triggers, because there is also a physiological reaction that's happening when we think these thoughts. So we got to hack the limbic system. We got to hack the amygdala, which is the fear activation center. So in my opinion, I think that one of the most effective and powerful methods that you can use, coupled with all of those methods Melissa just shared, is overwriting the narrative that you have about a certain trigger or about a certain trauma or about a certain situation. And studies have actually shown that it's not enough to just wipe that slate clean and to not think about the thing, because you can't just not think about the thing you don't want to think about, because even just now saying this, you're thinking about the thing, right? So you have to overwrite it. And the way that you do that is by speaking it or journaling it, or essentially over processing the experience or the situation so that you no longer have that feedback loop as charged as it is. Because when something happens, when a thought or a depression or an anxiety, this is very, very common in the field of anxiety and, you know, anxiety relief, is that if you have a fear of something, you spend your entire day, your entire life taking aversive measures to avoid that fear, right? So you even take aversive measures to try and avoid the panic attack itself. And then it just becomes this really, really deep spiral. So we have found in science that you have to actually find a way to neutralize that, and ideally make it a positive thought and a positive response, but typically neutralizing it is enough. So what you do is this, and Melissa and I talk a lot about the benefits of journaling. That is a really effective way of just literally writing out the event over and over and over again. It creates this sort of psychosomatic and energetic desensitization. Melissa spoke to this earlier when she talked about, you know, kind of the outdated paradigm of talk therapy. This is self-therapy. This is spirit therapy. This is energy therapy. This is the therapy that is matching you as an energetic being right here, right now, about to go into 2022. Talk therapy was very applicable for where people were at on a level of consciousness long ago. And we're not undermining the benefits of it, because it can be very cathartic for a lot of people. Yeah. But there is a different way. If you're interested, there's a different way, which we will share with you. So over processing the information, right? Journaling it, speaking it. Have you ever noticed that somebody says, oh my gosh, what's that terrible thing that just happened to you? And you go, ah, and you're like recalling it and you're crying. And then they say, what did you say? And the more that you talk about it, the less physiological response you have to it. That is because your amygdala, again, your fear activation center in your brain, is now beginning to release fewer and fewer hormones that are associated with that fight or flight. And so your body's actually going, okay, yes, I'm saying this thing, which was really traumatic, that is actually a trigger imprint on me, or trauma imprint, but our body's realizing we're safe. And so there's actually a soothing effect that comes from the repetition of retelling it. And if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Journal about it. But I would actually take a measure to get it out of your head, whether that's verbalizing it or writing about it. Because those are very, very, useful techniques that can occur. And so as that happens, we're not just neutralizing that response, we're actually overwriting it. And overwriting that narrative is something that, we talk about a lot in our groups and in our live events. How do you tell yourself a different story? And one of the best people that I have ever heard speak on this is Melissa. So Melissa, I want to hear in your words, how do you start to tell yourself a different story? When we're talking about actually breaking up those NLPs and those thought processes, how do we start to tell a different story?
Oh my gosh, well, I'm like listening to you so captivated. I love rewriting the narrative. I think it's one of the most powerful things that you can do. Guys, so every one of us has our own soul code. Not to get too far gone with this, but it's your voice. No one's voice is the same. Everybody has a different vibration. It's your own soul code. What you speak into existence will be, and what you don't won't. And so I often always say too, there's power in your pen. Write it first, then speak it. Write it first, then speak it. It's a very, very powerful duo. You'll hear people talking about scripting. Well, writing your new story is writing in the present tense or future. I am, I have. This already happened. It is not, it will. You're not using words like I hope, I wish, becoming, this will be. No. It's powerful words. I am, I have. The more, and Olivia, you've spoken so beautifully to this, the more we use powerful language, extraordinary, delicious, delightful, words that bring to life what you want to experience, the more powerful it is. If you notice, words that are very empty in energy are hope. I wish, someday, maybe, cool, right? It's like, do you want it to happen? Like, do you want extraordinary, or do you just want average? You like each word, look at average, like that word alone has a connotation to it, right? Fine has a connotation to it. Do you want to be fine, or do you want to be fabulous? Like, right? So you get to choose, but you get to write it. You get to dictate it. So sit down and look at everything that you want in your life from this point forward, really understanding, guys, the past doesn't really exist except in your mind. That's it. So we can ruminate about the past. We can tell everybody about the past, the things that we don't. By all means, keep all the things you do love. But the things that you don't, like, it only exists because you keep it alive. If you look at you and your sibling and your life, I guarantee the two of you would have completely different experiences and recollections of the love you received, of the opportunities you had, of everything that goes on. So everything you're experiencing is through your own lens. So if you want to keep talking about, well, I'm this way because, that's up to you. But it's just you pointing the finger to something that happened in your own version that is now being accountable for the reasons why you haven't achieved things that you want. So let's just stop that. And instead, let's actually create the story that you want. So if we know the past doesn't really exist except anywhere but in your mind, because everyone's got their own rendition of it, right? And everyone's experienced something different. You get to write from this point forward. So what do you want to have occur a year from now? What do you want to have occur 90 days from now? What do you want to have occur 6 months from now? Write yourself a letter from the standpoint of that. So if you want to go a year out, by all means. I do it all the time. I just did my 90-day letter to myself this morning. So what do you want to have? Like, where do you want to be on March 8th? Take time today and write, oh my God, dear yourself, I'm so happy and grateful that X blah, 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 blah occurred for me. It felt like this. I was able to do this. I made this much money and then I bought this. I went here and I traveled here and this, whatever everybody's got their own things. Write it out and then read it, right? Read it out loud. Read it and say it's done. And if you're noticing that when you're reading it, there's a big lack of like, this isn't going to happen, then fold it up, put it in an envelope, mail it back to yourself. There's services that could do this, or put it in a drawer and put a reminder on your phone to read the letter to yourself on March 8th and let it go. Leave it, write it, read it, get in the feeling of it happening, and then let it go, right? And you can do that for any timeline, but that is you taking your power back. That's you allowing yourself to connect with your higher self and letting your higher self guide you to what's possible for you. Again, your view right now is limited thinking. It's only gotten you to where you are right now. So if you want to go to places that you haven't been, as Olivia so eloquently and like powerfully shared, you have to do the things that you've never done to become who you want to be, who you haven't been, right? So really looking at this. So do this and write in all the things that you would really love. It is your wish list and watch what happens because it is magical. Why you wouldn't do this, I truly don't understand. It is free. It's available to you. By all means, please do it. And then report back and let us know what happened for you, what occurred.
You know, I think those are such great tips, and it is really as easy as Melissa, you know, is illustrating. It really is. It's a very organic, it's a very natural process that we're, you know, walking you guys through. I can't emphasize enough to dovetail that the importance of hacking your subconscious mind. You guys hear us talk about this all the time. Your subconscious mind will onboard and integrate concepts and methods and new patterns of thought much more easily and frequently than your conscious mind. Well, your conscious mind is kind of like the buzzkill of the party, right? So your conscious mind is always like, well, that can't really happen. Well, here's some self-doubt. Let me just throw some shit on your path, whatever. And it's completely fucking useful information to have for no one, right? It's absolutely not useful. So we want to always try to hack into and circumvent our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind is the one that's going to accept and onboard these new narratives that we are giving to it. And it's going to do it way quicker than the conscious mind. And it goes a little something like this. So if you can, before you go to sleep at night, use Melissa's methods for scripting, for writing. That's why doing a list of your next day really does begin the night before, is because then you're integrating it into your subconscious mind when you sleep. It's so important. And you guys hear us talk and preach about this all the time. What you are watching, what you are ingesting before you go to sleep, if that's a scary movie, you are then putting that into your subconscious mind. If that's violence, if that's, you know, if that's something horrible, if that's trauma, whatever that is, you are now infusing that into your subconscious mind, which we just said believes everything that you feed it. So what are you pre-paving for your next day if that is the final moments, the final cognizant conscious moments you're spending with yourself before you marinate it on for 8 hours, right? Be very, very careful what input, what data, and what stimulation you are giving to your subconscious mind right before you sleep. So many things happen in sleep state. That's a whole other episode, but really sacred and really scientific things as well. So if we can hack our subconscious mind right before we go to sleep at night by doing the journaling tools, by writing the letter, you know, and one of my favorites, which is super easy and super applicable, YouTube has an entire library, millions, literally millions of meditations that access things like binaural beats and solfeggio frequencies. So if you don't know what solfeggio frequencies are, Google those. And binaural beats, they are specific waves, specific octaves and frequencies of music. They're in every musical note, every musical sound, but they are incredibly ancient, right? So they were rediscovered in a cave in Malta, you know, after being written at the time of like Christ, or probably even before that. We're talking like ancient Egyptians, and they have an effect on the body, on the cells, and on the subconscious mind, that when paired with an intention and when paired with your work that you're going to do it. We know, because we already talked about moving differently, right? We agreed that's how we're going to move in the future. So when paired with that, are incredibly effective at manifesting things and getting you into a sort of like baseline state that you really want to be in. Because we do want to eliminate those highs and those lows and those peaks and those valleys. We want to experience bliss as our experienced, constant, steady state for the most part, right? These are the tools and tricks in which are going to help you to do that. So circumventing to the subconscious mind through using all of the tools and techniques that Melissa shared, and then also the timing of it. It's very hard sometimes for people to do it first thing in the morning, which is ideal, but try doing it right before you go to bed. You may find that more effective. And also putting in your earphones and maybe not falling asleep to like, keeping up with the Kardashians in the background. Maybe falling asleep with like some binaural beats, or writing down the things that you want to manifest, speaking of them as though they are in your current reality, because they absolutely are. You're not finding them, you are aligning with them, right? You're not creating, you're remembering. So very, very different thought processes and feelings there, and emotions. But really try playing around with the timing. And sometimes that is a complete game changer in sort of introducing, as we said, a more blessed state rather than stressed. Because we want to go from stress to bliss in 10 minutes or less.
Yeah, guys, these are so good. And there's a great book if you're looking for more just around sleep. Sleep Smarter and Why We Sleep are two great books to give you science-based reasons as well, but also just a simple why we sleep. Once you read it, you're like, I'm never missing my sleep again. But this is so important, and that's why even scripting out and writing what it is that you want and reading it at night, you don't have to be like, oh my God, I have to feel it. You can literally just say it out loud, because what else happens with the subconscious is the more we do repetition with the subconscious mind over and over, the more it becomes your reality, right? The mind does not know the difference between a dream and reality, period. So what you speak into existence will be. And at first the ego, the mind will go, no, that's not true. No, that we don't have that. No, that's not this. And then after it hears it, and then you take it with you to sleep. Remember, when you're sleeping, higher power is doing its work on you. It is reconfiguring your energy. It is restoring you. It is rejuvenating you. We can talk about that on another Cosmic Tea, about how to reconfigure your energy before you sleep, or while you're sleeping, to support you in actually achieving, feeling the things that you want, and how that actually works. But right now, the primary thing is really understanding that when you are feeding the subconscious before you sleep, it is so, so powerful, and it's planting seeds. It is helping. So all of a sudden, at first, the ego might resist and go, oh, no. And I always tell clients, keep repeating it, because in the repetition, the ego will buy into it. And then it will start to go, wait, oh, that could happen. And then what it starts doing is giving you directives during the day. It starts giving you action steps. Oh, yeah, I said to myself that I'm going to make this much money this month. And then all of a sudden you wake up with this huge idea to do something, or, you said something around love, or you said something around this. And all of a sudden you're being given guidance during the day. That's how that works, to then support you in taking action to turn those dreams, to turn those thoughts into your reality. So that's why that's so important to do. And just to speak into what Olivia had shared with the subconscious.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I also feel like, and we've discussed this before, and we've shared this technique, which is it's a little witchy, but frankly, I don't care. Writing down, taking that list and folding it and putting it in your pillowcase. There is something really freaking magical that happens when you do that. I don't know. Melissa doesn't know. We don't know, but we know it works, right? So it's almost like infusing your subconscious mind with your, why not? What have you got to lose? Guys, we're about to be in a new year, and it's anybody's game at this point. it's like a tie game, and it's, you
Yeah.
know, it's halftime. Like, it is literally anybody's game. What you do right now and what you do in the next couple of weeks is like shooting 3-pointers, right? It's bonus work. It's setting you up. You are setting up the volley for how you want to walk into 2022, which, by the way, astrologically and energetically is going to be a superpower year, a supercharged year. And there's just a lot. There's a lot. And we will go into that on consequent episodes of Cosmic Tea, because that's what we do. But we want and to get prepared. So we're here to give you the tools, and we're here to give you the insight and know-how on how to do that and how to get energetically organized.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
And guys, put these into practice and let us know how they go. You know, DM us, let us know how they go. And I promise you're going to be amazed at what transpires.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree
Oh,
more. This has been another episode of Cosmic Tea. I'm Oh, am I delayed? I think
No, I wasn't sure if I was.
Love
Sorry.
you so much, Melissa Kathryn. Thank you for joining me yet again for this incredible episode. Every episode is my favorite. And we will see you guys back here next week.
Yep. See you next week, guys.